Mike Trout making history. Let's step into the on deck circle.
You're listening to the DFS On Deck podcast, brought to you by Line Star app, the top-rated DFS tool set and #1 companion for DraftKings, FanDuel, and Yahoo Daily Fantasy. Go Line Star Premium now at linestarapp.com. Now, here are your hosts, fantasy baseball experts Joe Pisapia and KC Bubba.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? It's me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and welcome to On Deck right here, courtesy of the Line Star app. It is me, it is KC Bubba, and it's you, and welcome back, everybody. Hopefully you had a lovely Labor Day weekend. You didn't labor too much. In fact, hopefully you did the opposite of laboring. I know I did, that's for sure, but it's time to get back to work today. That's right, it's Tuesday. And Bubba and I are going to recap everything that went on Monday and look forward to today's slate as well, which is kind of all over the place. We got a bunch of 6 o'clock games, a Sixto Sanchez game. It's a 666 kind of day. It's the mark of the beast, Casey Bubba.
Yes, it is. It's going to be a wild one. 9 games on DraftKings, 12 games on FanDuel. So lots of fun today. Lots of interesting decisions we're going to have to make, especially on the pitching side of things. But yes, 6 doesn't play. Can't wait till we discuss the price difference on that one.
Yes, and it was it certainly is. And it was a historic weekend for Mike Trout, who hit his 300th home run. Congratulations to you, Jersey boy. Way to go, Mike Trout. It was a tough week last week. You lose Tom Seaver and Lou Brock, two stalwarts of the 60s and 70s of baseball, and two of the all-time greats. So tough weekend for baseball in that sense, losing legends in that sense. And, we're kind of remiss. We're nowhere DFS show, but we're also a baseball show. So we got to talk about those things too. And obviously those are two huge losses in the community of baseball, especially for those people who are, I would say, 40s and above. You probably remember those guys a bit more. I remember the end of Tom Seaver's career. That's it. Yes. I didn't see Lou Brock. But I think this is more something in the folks in the 50s and 60s. They probably in their 50s and 60s probably have quite an affinity for those two players, especially if you grew up with those Cardinals or Mets teams in the 60s and 70s, because that was definitely it. So again, great, incredible careers for those two. And it's always too soon to lose legends. I think that's the best way to put it. So Bubba, let's take a look at yesterday's slate. And we have the Marlins beating the Braves 5-4. So we basically, we have the Braves who are 24 and 17. And I got to be honest with you, it feels like the softest 24 and 17 in baseball to me. I don't know why. I have zero faith in the Braves, and maybe it's because of games like this, so they drop to the Marlins. So I don't know. I feel like it's going to be the same thing where the Braves have a good record. They get into the playoffs, they get smoked, and then everybody's looking around at each other saying, why weren't we more aggressive at the deadline? It's going to be 2 years in a row of that.
Yeah, that was the preaching, because they look at their starting rotation. Like, they're calling up Kyle Wright again today, who's just hasn't had it figured out. They have not had a stable set of pitching. Ozzie Albies has been hurt most of the year. Acuna's been hurt off and on. They've been battling it all and somehow are 24 and 17. So I guess you can either say good on them or, like you said, how did they do this? Because it does feel like they'll get to the postseason, they'll face another team with really good pitching, and away they go again.
That's what I'm thinking. I really do. All right, Gene Segura bails out the Phillies bullpen with a home run, the 10th to beat the Mets 9-8. You got 17 runs in that one. So, a good game for Segura. Brandon Workman picked up the W in that one. And Hector Neris picked up his third save. The Twins 6-3 over the Tigers. Pineda's sharp in 7 innings there. So look at that. Michael Pineda getting a W. Couple starts this year. ERA is under 3. You trust Michael Pineda right now, Bubba?
Well, trust is a strong word when it comes to Michael Pineda. It's usually I like Michael Pineda in GPP lineups or the right matchups in the right situations. To trust him every time out is a very strong, crazy idea most of the time.
You can always tell it's a loaded question when I raise my voice like that. Yes? You
yes, I thought you were talking to a toddler. Everyone's voice changes like that when they talk to a toddler.
How's that novel you've been working on? You know that novel?
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian, that clever novel you've been working on, Brian? Or with the the protagonist and the antagonist? I missed. That's a great bit. That's an old bit I haven't thought of in a long time, but that is a great. Some difficult situations, trying to get out of it. Everyone's better for everything that they've done. Let me know how that works out for you. All right, Kyle Hendricks gets his 5th win of the year, 5-1 over the Cardinals. So the Cubs continue to roll here. They are 24-18 now. And I'll tell you what, it's, just jumping back to last week on that Yu Darvish start last week, I put that Yu Darvish cash game lineup into the tournament, tripled up my money in that. I'm telling you, get that pitcher right. And Yu Darvish wasn't as highly owned because of that Flaherty matchup. And sure enough, Yu Darvish yet again dominated, and Yu Darvish carried that team. I had some good pieces. The only piece that let me down, stupid Evan Longoria. That was the only one. Everything else in that lineup was great that day. Brandon Belt was good. Been rolling with your Giants lately, and it's been working out. We also had the Rangers lose to the Mariners 8-4. So the Mariners continue to be pesky and play close to 500 ball. The Nationals got a rare win, 6-1 over the Rays. So Scherzer was good, but he's been up and down. I mean, it's been tough. This isn't dominant Max Scherzer. Charlie Morton took the loss in this one. It feels like Morton's kind of at the end here, and it's sad. It makes me sad because he was so good last year. I don't know. This is a tough one here. And I know this is the last year of his deal, so he's probably out. So hopefully he gets right by the playoffs, gets a little juice there for that run. Zach Plesac won his 2nd straight start. We started him last week, and I'm just going to keep rolling with the guy. I know, I don't care about the other stuff. I care about if it's the right call. His ERA is down to 1.32, Bubba. I mean, I don't care if you like the guy, don't like the guy. If he's going to be priced right at, somewhere in that 8K range, Plesac is going to be on my teams.
Yep, I rostered him everywhere yesterday. He was on DraftKings. He was $7,600. Like, it was.
And it's just
cheap.
absurd.
So like it was a plug and play. Like you said, you just pretend he doesn't have the frosted tips and the puka shells, and just say he's a good pitcher, which he is. And I've started reading some Cleveland articles that say basically he's their next Shane Bieber. Like, they believe a lot of the things he's doing and how they've worked with them. And I'm not saying he's Shane Bieber, but like you just mentioned, his numbers and what he's done, he's pretty dominant right now, so it's hard to ignore.
Yeah, get in on that price. Blue Jays 12-7 over the Yankees. Urshela went on the DL or the IL over the weekend, so that's another one to just, God, I don't know how much the Yankees can stand. I really don't. I don't know when that breaking point is. Zach Gallen took a loss. He finally gave up some runs in a game. ERA ballooned all the way to 2.29, if you can believe it. But Gossman beats him. That you must have been loving life here. Boy, you beat Zach Gallen as a Giants fan. That's pretty good. That's a good day for you.
Yeah, the offensive juggernaut in San Francisco just keeps taking down, ace after ace. It's been a wild season, Joe. It's 2020 in a nutshell, is watching the Giants have an offense. I haven't experienced that in a long time. So it's been crazy. But yeah, Gossman was only 6,100 yesterday. Like, he's been silly cheap. 77 on FanDuel. He's been GPP viable. So we'll talk about him later again this week. But people need to stop sleeping on him also.
All right, and Chris Bassett, another guy people have been sleeping on, but not us. We've been talking about him a lot on the show as a decent secondary arm. Another W for him. That's his 3rd of the year. He beats the Astros. They were in Oakland 6-0, so a shutout game there for the A's. Sean Murphy hit a 2-run with a home run and a 2-run single there. And last but not least, the Padres 1-0 over the Rockies there. So Profar kind of led the offense there. Pomeranz ended up getting the W. So that was yesterday. That was Labor Day, your holiday. It's a new day. Yes, it is. And let's start after it, and let's take a look here. We have afternoon games. We have a 3:15 start. Jose Barrios against Carlos Martinez, but that is not available, I don't think, on your slate. I mean, look, this is another one of those crazy. Yeah, it's another one of those crazy days. So as far as the day games go, can you even get involved here? It looks like we're, you can do it on DK.
yeah, DK maybe, but FanDuel's locked you out.
Yeah, FanDuel's locked you out of the day slate here, but as far as DraftKings goes, you can get involved and just play it all, which, again, we're not going to do. So you're going to miss Barrios versus Carlos Martinez. You're going to miss Martin Perez and Eflin, whatever. So let's start with the 6 o'clock games here, and let's continue with the FanDuel side of things. You have Yarborough here at 605, 7-7 for him. Anibal Sanchez is 6K over on the DraftKings side. Once again, in order to do this, you have to play all day. Same thing, basically a similar price. Nobody likes these pitchers, but from an offensive standpoint, your thoughts here on this game with the Rays and Nationals, what do you like?
Well, usually DraftKings has some of these Rays guys priced way too high, so I don't get them. But Brandon Loud only 32, Meadows at 29 have a lot of appeal versus Anibal Sanchez, who just hasn't been good. And then there's also value if you want to with the Rays, like Choi at 25 has been a nice left-handed bat in that lineup. So there's options here. I'm not saying it's a must. I'd say Brandon Lowe at 32 does bring a lot of nice value to a second base position that's really, really rough tonight.
He is 5.5 on DK, by the way.
He's been ridiculous every day. Every day is over 5K, so I never get to play him.
No, you don't get to play him on DK. Yeah, no. I mean, that's fine. And the next one here, You've got Frankie Montas against Zach Greinke. So Montas is 8K on DraftKings. On DraftKings, Greinke is 9.8. So you can get involved in that one, but you can't do it on FanDuel. Once again, it's
because it's a double header.
Yeah,
it's weird because usually DK doesn't do double headers, so I don't know what they're doing. But
well,
keep an eye on Frankie
it's because
Montas.
you can do it in the all day. That's why it's available
okay.
to you if you play all day. If you start at 3:00 and just make it all one giant slate. So it must be some kind of thing in their setup where they can't segment as easily as FanDuel can.
Yeah,
which is just weird at this point. You know, I don't know how that works out.
Oh, they're all foolish. But two things to keep in mind: the doubleheader is only 7 games. Remember that, people. If you're playing,
7 innings,
changes things a little bit. Yeah, 7 innings. I mean, and Montas was scratched yesterday, and that's why Bassett started. So make sure he's like, there might be something with that back still because he's been bad ever since that back injury. So
I was gonna say, man, I'm not touching Montas here. I actually think if you're gonna get involved in this one, you pay up for Greinke. It's just Montas has not been right. You're right. Ever since that scratch, it has not been good, and I'm going to continue to fade away from it. Let's go and jump into my boy, Tristan McKenzie. What a difference a week makes in pricing, huh? Look at this.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my goodness. On FanDuel, 9.4 from my boy at home against the Royals. Now, it's a good matchup, but geez, we really like step things up here. Talk about going from 0 to 100. I mean, the guy was what, like 7K or something like that? He's jumped to easily $2,000 in the last week, and deservedly so. I mean, he's pitched well enough to get there. The question is, do you trust him enough? For me, I think the answer is yes. I'll be honest with you. On the single pitcher site, I still think there's enough people don't know who he is. Now, I'll tell you what, as a secondary arm on the all day on DK at 7-1, huge value, phenomenal value, must start. Ownership will be through the roof. I'm fine with that. And I'll tell you what, you're getting a great price on Franmil Reyes too at 3.9, who's been very good this year. And that is a rare discount. Also on FanDuel, you get him at 3K. So a good price for Franmil there. But I'm all in on Tristan McKenzie, man. The guy's been fantastic since he came up. We just keep rolling with these Indians. These Royals are not a very good team. I mean, it's just easy as that. I'll ask you at 9.4, are you out, or do you think that there's a little bit of love here because, you know, there's still a lot of people don't believe in the kid. You know, it's young. When's it going to blow up? And it might be this game. It's fine. But so far, I mean, the kid's been dominant.
You hit on something there that I want to clarify for a lot of people. These kids are good. We're going to talk Sixto Sanchez in a bit. I like Sixto a little more because he's $400 cheaper. Both great pitchers. The thing you mentioned, they're young. They're going to have blowups. Like, it's going to happen. Just it doesn't have anything to do with their skill set. It's just because they're young and command's kind of an issue and little things like that. So that's going to happen. But in this matchup versus Kansas City, $9,400 I have no problem with. He's electric. Great stuff. You mentioned Franmil on both sides. I've been playing him because he's like the only cheap piece on DraftKings you get with the Indians, unless you play Tyler Naquin, who's 29 on FanDuel and these low 3s on DraftKings. So you can go there for some value as well. But another guy to mention on FanDuel, Carlos Santana is only $2,700 for Jacob Junis. That is silly cheap.
Yeah, I like the Indians today. Look, you're paying $400 more to get the Indians offense. That's what you're getting.
Exactly.
I mean, and I don't know if I don't think that's a terrible trade-off. That's a reasonable amount more to pay. And you're right, Sixto's been brilliant. We'll get to him in a second here, but I think I'll pay the $400 more for the matchup against the Royals with that Cleveland offense, just because I trust those guys. I mean, you look at the lineup, it's got Lindor, Ramirez, Santana, Reyes. I mean, I feel better about him getting the run support that if he isn't perfect, maybe we could still squeak in a W there potentially. But so far, he's been as close to perfect as you can get from a young kid there. So very excited to see him. All right, Jay Happ and whatever's left of the Yankees, although they do had Gleyber Torres back, so that was good. And his price on FanDuel goes right back to 2.7, which is great. Love that. They did get LeMahieu back last week too. We had talked about that. So it's not the same Yankees without Judge and Stanton right now. And we'll see if Torres can get in there and get hot again. He's facing Taijuan Walker. This one's in Buffalo for the Blue Jays. And it's hard not to like this Blue Jays lineup. I mean, I think I'm fading away from the pitchers in this ballpark. I'm sure you would agree with that. But look at Lourdes Gurriel at 2.9, VR at 2.8. These are all the FanDuel prices. Rowdy Tellez in a 3-hole probably at 2.8. Grichuk 3.2. Really, the only expensive guy in this whole game is Kevin Biggio, and he doesn't even cross 4. So it's kind of crazy to me that we're in this kind of hitter environment that's been so prolific this year in Buffalo, and yet we don't have one player who crosses that 4K threshold on FanDuel. I think that's fascinating, and I think it's going to lead to high ownership today.
It should. It's a great spot for them. I do like the Biggio call because people will see the price tag and they'll just kind of skip over him, but he's been one of the more consistent players in their entire offense. So I think he's a good piece to have
not
with
that
it.
expensive. 3.8's not that bad for what
it's not bad, doing. But Grichuk Guerrero, Gurriel, just the whole price range so cheap for the middle of that order against Hap.
The killer
It's hard to
G's.
pass
Can we
up.
call them the killer
Yep.
G's?
Hey, these are my baby Blue Jays. That's what they are. The baby Blue
The
Jays.
baby Blue Jays. Well, I like the Gritcha, Gurriel, Guerrero. I thought
I like that. You can call
you're
them that.
creating a stable there.
Especially when you have Biggio, who's a part of the Killer Bees in Houston, so it's cool.
There you go. That's cool. It's cool. It's a new thing. Over on DK, different price structure, obviously.
Yes.
So you're looking at the mid fours for everybody. Biggio at the top of the board at 5.6. You're not getting a discount on Torres. He's at 4.7. He's one of the more expensive Yankees, along with Voit and LeMahieu. But what about Voit in this game today too? Here, because I mean, Taijuan Walker has been a guy that I think you can go against. Do you prefer the Blue Jays to the Yankees, or you just want to game stack the whole thing?
I prefer the Blue Jays to the Yankees, but I've been on Voit all year, and he hits righties with a ton more power than lefties, so I think it's a good call there. You get a discount on FanDuel for sure, and he'd be a good like, if you want to
user friendly.
bring like a Voit back with like a 3 or 4 man J stack, that could be pretty good.
All right, Dylan Cease over there for the White Sox, 8.4K for him, taking on the Pirates. It's just been this easy. The Pirates have just been bad, and last week there was one game, I forget who it was, we said, I don't know if I want to do this. I know it's the Pirates, and it was still good. And I think our lesson learned here is it's just the Pirates are just a lost season. That's it. 8.7 for Dylan Cease on DK. You could certainly, look, we're going to get to Sixto in a second on DK. It's absurd what the pricing is for him. But This is the beginning of the 7 o'clock games, and Dylan Cease, as one of the tandem pitchers tonight, has good win equity, good strikeout potential against the Pirates, who strike out a fair amount, and he's going to get the offensive support. It's a tough lineup to get involved with at DraftKings because there's a lot of 5K players here, but on the FanDuel side, you got guys, as low as 2.9 and Grandal and Encarnacion as 2.9 as well, Bubba.
Yeah, no, you definitely want him on the FanDuel side if you can afford him. I don't mind some of the value at the Pittsburgh bats, I'll be honest. I think Cease, his last few starts, just not striking guys out, and the command hasn't been where we want it. So I don't think I'm going to use him as an arm. I'm not stacking Pittsburgh by any means, but there are value one-offs. Brian Hayes is cheap on both sides. He's 28 on DK. He's only 26 on FanDuel.
Yeah.
And then the other value I'd mention is Eric Gonzalez hitting towards the top of their order. 24 on FanDuel. He's 4K on DK, but he's hitting like 400 over his last 10 games. So cash-wise, he's actually got a really good floor for you.
Yeah, Aloy at 3.4 is I think the best bang for your buck here. He's cheaper than Abreu on FanDuel. He's cheaper than Robert. He's hitting the 5-hole. He's cheaper than Tim Anderson. If you just want to make, get a guy in this White Sox lineup or start with a guy, I think it starts with Aloy. It's just, he's the best ROI in my opinion. All right, let's get to the game that obviously Bubba's super excited about. Here you go. Ready? Sixto Sanchez on FanDuel, 9K against the Atlanta Braves, who strike out a fair amount. Obviously, Kyle Wright, we mentioned earlier, 5.8, right? Okay, makes sense. On DK, he's 6.2K against Kyle Wright, who's 6.5. How is this? What? How? Why?
Yeah.
All right. So
can you imagine? Can you imagine, Joe? Pretty much. Could you imagine playing a full day slate and you get Sixto and McKenzie for 71 and 62 and get every bat you wanted?
Well, let me tell you something. Here's the danger: is if you don't have the attention span to make sure the other guys are in the lineup that day, that's where it gets a little hinky. You take some zeros, that can hurt you.
Yep.
But if you have the fortitude to be paying attention and swapping and playing along, basically, then okay. But it's, I don't know how you don't do that today on DraftKings. And people say, oh, it's chalky. Well, so what? It's right. Yeah. It's like the Yu Darvish story. We just told you it's right. If it's right, you play it. Then just stop overthinking things. And that's the ruination. I can't tell you how much dead money there is in some of these lines where people are just trying so many different things to be different instead of just trying to put their best foot forward and trying to, triple or quadruple up their money in a tournament as opposed to trying to win the whole thing by being so different. It's just, you look at the lineups that win these things, they're basically look like cash game lineups with a few exceptions here and there. It's sorry.
It's only like 2 tweaks, like you said. It's like 2 tweaks. It's all it is.
2 little tweaks. It's that one. It's somebody who had Lewin Diaz go off that night.
Exactly. Some 2% guy that no one would play.
The 2% guy who was in the 2K range, and that's how it worked out. And you know what? And we've been trying to target those guys, and we've done pretty well with most of them. But all right, so outside of Sixto tonight, you getting involved with any offense here with the Miami Marlins against Kyle Wright, or is it a hard pass?
Yeah, if you want to be different tonight, Marlins are one of the ones I like. Jesus Aguilar, 38 on DK, 29 on FanDuel, brings you some value. Garrett Cooper, it stinks. He's the same position as Aguilar. I love his power upside. I'd probably go Aguilar, but Cooper's been very, very good as well.
Well, you
And
can
then I
play
want to
Cooper at
mention,
the utility slot. You could go do
true,
that.
On FanDuel you can't. DK, you're screwed.
Right.
But Corey Dickerson's 32 on DK and 26 on FanDuel has hit safely in 4 straight. I think it's a great spot versus Kyle Wright for him if you want some savings. I don't mind the Marlins like a small little piece of the pie tonight against Kyle Wright. It just isn't that good right now.
Yeah, I like the Marte Aguilar thing as well. I mean, sign
Yeah.
me up for that. They're averaging 3K over there on FanDuel. Now, when you pop over to DK, different story because Marte is 5.5. So
Yep.
once again, when you see like Brandon Lau's like all the way at the top of the pricing in one and then moderate on the other site, it's just a no-brainer. I mean, it's telling you, it's screaming to you, this is a good investment. Take the good investment while you have it. John Means, the lefty, taking on Michael Wacha. I can't, get excited about either of these pitchers for good reason. Same old for me here. Michael Conforto against the lefty has been good, so 3.2 for him on FanDuel. I will take that. If McNeil stays at the top of this order at 2.7, that's good. Him, JD Davis, and Michael Conforto is actually a really nice top there in terms of trying to get some pop there. You also have Pete Alonso at 3.7, who's always got pop in that bat against John Means, the lefty. And on the other side, it's the same old, it's the usual suspects in this game, I feel like. Is there anybody else that really kind of pops over to you, maybe on the DraftKings side that I haven't mentioned yet?
Well, the only ones I'd mention on FanDuel and on DraftKings, DJ Stewart is really cheap. Really started getting it going here of late. He's 24 on FanDuel. And when you look at him on DraftKings, he is a whopping, you actually have to slide down, he's whopping $2,000. So if you want to just punt, DJ Stewart hitting about 6th against Wacha, a lefty, I'll take it.
All right. I've got some interest in Spencer Turnbull at 8.5 against the Brewers today. Adrian Hauser's at 8K, Spencer Turnbull 8.5 on DK. Turnbull's been okay. Over on FanDuel, he's just 7.6. The Tigers kind of hanging and hovering around 500. Is this kind of the sneaky oppo play of the day?
I love the Tigers' bats tonight. Not so much in love with Turnbull. I get what you're saying because the Brewers' offense hasn't been consistent. Turnbull's been inconsistent
hey, man,
too.
Like they just added Dan Vogel
in a GPP.
Back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in a GPP, sure. Like Keston here is the only bat I want.
That's it.
But so I get it. But I love the Tigers' bats. Like this is a weird slate with the Marlins and Tigers. Like you can really take the chalky pitchers because you can get really different with some bats tonight.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. Andrew Heaney 8.4K against Lance Lynn at 9.4. That's the DK pricing. Heaney is more than Lance Lynn on FanDuel. Heaney's 9.2. Lance Lynn is 8.8. This is another one where I scratch my head on the other side of this one. I don't get this at all.
Yeah, Lance Lynn's the workhorse. Like the way I described it to someone is Lance Lynn's your cash game play because he's got the floor. You know what you're going to get from Lynn. Usually 6+, 100+ pitches, 6+ strikeouts. Lynn's going to do his thing. I think Heaney's a great GPP play. We know he can be off in a split second and just blow your whole lineup up. But 2 back-to-back great starts, and most importantly, facing a Texas team that is very, very bad versus left-handed pitching. So I think Heaney is.
This is true, and he was
DK.
really good in that last outing, especially.
Yeah.
So I mean, and he's kind of been that guy too. Like, have a stretch of a couple good starts, and then then
he blows up again.
Exactly. So in terms of this one, I think you attacking any bats in this one, or do the pitchers?
No, I like both pitchers. Like whatever you're comfortable with, like Heaney GPP, Lynn cash, I'm good either way.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of still lean towards the Lance Lynn side. He's been so good.
Especially on FanDuel at that
somebody
price.
just posted a thing the other day, said, "Hey, remember when Sonny Gray and Lance Lynn were both Yankees?" I laughed out loud and I went, "Oh my God, wow. I didn't even think about that. Like that was such a blip on the radar when Lance Lynn was there. I almost forgot."
Yep.
And I was like, could you imagine? You imagine that rotation right now?
They'd probably be hurt.
Probably. Yeah, that's true. All right. The Reds and Cubs face off. Alec Mills on FanDuel 7.2, Tyler Mahle at 7.9. You've also pricing there 8.2 for Molly, and Alec Mills is 7.5 in this one. So your approach to the Cubs Reds tonight, Bubba, what is it?
You want left-handed bats? Be careful. You're going to hear the narrative all day. The wind is blowing in like at 19 miles an hour from left field. So
I see that.
Big deal. Big deal. So I kind of just want to avoid this game, even though I'd love to attack these pitchers. But I'm probably going to avoid it unless it's like an Ian Happ one-off, maybe a Schwarber,
I was going to say Winker
for value.
2.9. Yeah, 2.9 Winker seems to be like the best one on FanDuel because
I'm not going all in on this game. That's the thing.
Yeah, Winker's 4.3 on DK. Happ is 4.7. So it's funny that we're here at this stage in 2020, and those are the two bats that came to our mind first when we talked about the Cubs and the Reds. If you told me that in February, I would have laughed at you, right? I mean,
Castellanos, Moustakas, like give us all these guys.
Yeah, Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant. Now, like I love the Ian Happ more than most people, but still, like that was one of these things. Like, really, this is where we're at? Well, this is where we're at. We're in September now, folks. Chichi Gonzalez against Mike Clevenger. Obviously, 0 runs yesterday for the Rockies. Can Clevenger kind of keep that streak going? The last, or should I say, his first start as a Padre and his last start out was okay. It wasn't dominant from a strikeout standpoint. Do you think that this is a bounce back start for him at 9.6 on FanDuel? Is it worth it to you, or do you prefer the Lance Lynn at 8.8 on FanDuel?
I'm going to go elsewhere. Like, I love Clevenger. I'm a big fan of Clevenger, but something's not right there. There's been articles about him lately breaking down his pitch mix, like, some stuff with mechanics. Something's wishy-washy with him right now. So I'm just going to avoid him at his price point. If you want to go to a tournament, sure, I get it, but I'd rather go elsewhere tonight.
Well, at 9.7 on DK, are you more apt to try that with all the value of the Sixto Sanchez and some other guys we talked about, or do you just do what we were talking about before, which is Sixto and Tristan McKenzie, and then just load up on bats?
I go Tristan McKenzie, or if you're going to go GPP anyways, just go down to Heaney and roll the dice there. All
right, are we rolling the dice with Walker Buehler at 10.2K on DK against the terrible Diamondbacks, 10.4 on FanDuel? It would seem like on FanDuel, this is a pretty safe play here against Luke Weaver. I don't know. Call me crazy, Bubba.
Yeah, it's a great play. It's just one of those, came back from the blister, only threw 71 pitches. We knew he threw 90 before that. You'd have to imagine he's back up to 90. They said there's no issues. If he's a full go, basically, against this Arizona team, this is a great price tag. Like, you play Walker Buehler, just know there's always the risk of the Dodgers involved. But if he's good to go, he should dominate.
Yeah, look, Weaver's been terrible, so I'm going to take my shot there. And look at it. We got a new guy, Leger Newsom. I like this name, Leger. He's le cool.
He's about to get LeBombed out of San
He's going to get
Francisco.
LeBombed by Le Giants. Well, he's 5.9 against Logan Webb at 6.7. That's the FanDuel price for those two boys there. And, of course, on DK, 7.7 for Webb, and Newsom is 6.1. So, Bubba, I've been sticking with this. It's better on FanDuel, obviously, but Brandon Belt is just 3.8 on DK. That's a really good value for him.
They're drunk on DraftKings.
Yeah, I don't understand why they haven't caught up to that. On FanDuel, Belt is 3.1. Now just check the health of some guys like Dickerson and Longoria. Yastrzemski's price has come back down too, though, recently, which has been good. He's at 3.7, so that's much, much better in terms of pricing for them. But are you excited about the total in this game? Or is this one of these ones that might let us down, in your opinion?
I'm attacking the Giants bat still. I'm going to keep rolling with it. It's been warmer than usual out here right now, which I think is going to be a high in the mid to high 80s in San Francisco today, which is warm for them. So that'll help out a lot. But Belt's price tag on both sides is silly good. Yastrzemski on FanDuel is very, very attractive. The whole Giants roster is much cheaper on FanDuel. I like another Giant stack tonight. If anything, just play Belt as a cash game play on DraftKings. I'll say that much.
All right, it's that time again, boys and girls. It's time to call our shot. Bubba and I are each going to pick a name, and that is going to be our guy. And you can get involved in the contest, too. You follow us over at LineStar on Twitter, and if you retweet this and you reply with your home run call, you can win some free stuff. Everybody likes free stuff. Don't pretend like you don't, okay? This is America. It's a country built on free stuff. So let's get after it. Bubba, where are you going for your home run tonight? Who is leaving the yard?
Who is leaving the yard? We are going to go with the one, the only, and this pains me to say, but Pete Alonso is going deep tonight off John Means.
Oh, I can feel the pain in your voice. I'm going to go with another big boy, another first baseman. I'm going to go with Luke Voit. That's right. Let's go Luke Voit off Taijuan Walker in Buffalo today. That's my home run call. So again, you get involved. Go to LineStar MLB, go to LineStar app on Twitter and follow us and get involved in the game. And while you're at it, go get that LineStar app and upgrade to the premium product. And then you'll get all ready for MLB and for NFL, which starts this week. I can't believe we're here. And that's right, Thursday, the pre-snap is back. Scott Bogman and I are going to be back on Thursday doing your DFS NFL preview show. That's the pre-snap. Go follow me on Twitter at Joe Pisapia17 for the information on that, or check out LineStar online anywhere you can get it. So Bogman and I will be back on Thursday with that preview show, and Friday with the wagering show. Very exciting. Who knows? We might be so excited, we just might release everything on Thursday just because we want to talk football so bad. So keep an eye out for that one. And also follow our good friend Casey Bubba on the Twitter machine as well. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. There's nothing left to do now except step out of the on-deck circle and into the batter's box and go yard. We'll see you next time, kids.
You You've been listening to the DFS On Deck podcast, brought to you by Line Star. Hit subscribe, tell a friend, and stay tuned for the next episode from fantasy baseball experts Joe Pisapia and KC Bubba.